Okay, this video is going to talk about how to do the daily callback roster using the main roster. So I've got a shortcut to the fire folder on my desktop here. This is on the Y drive. And what I'll do is I'll open up KE. And you know, this is usually done in the morning, and so sometime just before 9 o'clock or so, whenever you can get to it in the morning. The first thing we look at is these date and times here from all the different stations. And what we want to look for is that this has been done today. And so we can take a quick glance, and this will update live in front of you, is that if the date is today, and it's got this time usually between 8 and 9, that it's done. And so if we look down and it's all done on the 16th and we're all good, then everybody's completed it. And then we want to make sure that's done before we open up and sync the main roster, because once we open it up, if someone updates it while we've got it open, it won't immediately sync. We have to close it out and then open it back up to update all the links. So we'll go ahead and open the main, and that'll come up with a update link window here. Go ahead and update. If it comes up with some security warning up top, you need to set your trusted location. That can be found on a separate video. So let's go ahead and make this okay. It's asking for a password. If you don't know what the password is, call me and we'll let you know what it is. Otherwise, I'm not going to put it on video. So enter in the password, and then your menu or splash screen will come up. We'll pick B shift right now. And what you can see is on every station it'll tell you who modified it last and when, and so you can kind of double check there. One of the things we need to do is fill this out here on supervisors. So it's just like the rest of the daily rosters. It's by employee ID number. So you just enter an employee ID number of Johnny Johnson, and it'll make it fill Johnny Johnson in. And what we're really looking for here is whether or not we're available for overtime. So if Johnny was not, we'll just change it from yes to a no. If he is, we'll change it to a yes. Same with Andrew. If he's available, we'll do that. And any one of this. If they're acting, we need to put them in there. You can put this here. It's really for your benefit. It's just for record purposes. Okay, and since we're talking about the callback now, we'll go ahead and do that first. So once we've entered this in, we go down to the bottom down here and click the availability list tab, and it'll come up with this sheet here. Now there's a couple things we need to do here first. First thing we need to do is hit this clear button. Now before we hit that, we can see what it is it tells us whether or not someone has already worked or shows call worked in the callback books. And because this is linked to the sheet that Stella updates, and it is how we get these position numbers here. And so and you can see that she's already updated it because Kyle is now 115 and it's showing above the rest here. But it also shows that Carlos Bazan has already worked, and what had happened is he has worked last week. So what we need to do is hit the clear button, and that makes sure that all these say no and everything is correct. Now we'll hit the sort button, and it'll sort according to what the current callback list shows and what it says. So this will be completely accurate. And what it does is it looks at the main roster here, and it shows it takes the employee ID number, determines whether they're available or not. Then it takes that same employee ID number and compares it to the daily callback list and comes up with their position on that list. And that's how it sorts it. Now, if this is like the second shift that week and we've already have some that have worked, we need to make sure that they're entered in as call worked. And so what we'll do is we'll hit the call work button. And let's just say that Stuart Gosey has already worked. His ID number is 2506. So we'll type in 2506 and we'll hit the enter button. And what that does is you can see right there, it shows him as call worked. We'll do the same thing for Randy Lopez. And what this will do is it'll keep popping up until you don't put anything in there. Then it'll just go away. And so now we've had these two have worked. So we're going to hit that sort button again, and it drops them to the bottom of the list. All right, but they really didn't work, so we'll make sure we hit that clear, and we'll sort them again. and he's back up there. Okay, and what this does is it sorts them now that they are available and they have not worked, and by their position on the list. And you can see down here, these will start, they're not available. So the next thing we need to do is go to down here in the bottom, top 20 B dynamic. If you're on C shift, it'll be the top 20 C dynamic, or A shift, top 20 A dynamic. And it comes here to our dynamic roster. Okay, and you can see on the instructions down here on what on how to do this if you need a reminder. But the first thing you need to do is find out what tomorrow's shift is starting with, and with B shift it'll be C shift. What are they starting with? Okay, and that's important because our contract says that we have to create a list that is 20 more than the anticipated. So if we're starting at 97, we are anticipating needing no overtime tomorrow, and so we need a list of 20, 0 plus 20. If they start, let's say they're starting with 94, we're anticipating that we need 2 overtimers, and so the list should be 22. All right, so we entered 94 there. Now we need to click the adjust button and adjust it down to a list of 22. Now, if someone calls and scratches, we can do one of two things. They can call you and say they've updated their roster, or say, hey, scratch me from the list. If you got one or two, this is really easy to do. Just hit the scratch button. Let's say Stuart Gossey scratched. We'll enter in Stuart Gossey's number, and he's off the list. Okay. Let's just say you made a mistake and you want to put him back on. Hit reset scratch. It puts him right back on the list. Okay. Now, let's say you've had 3 or 4 call you or email you and said, hey, Chief, so-and-so's taken their name off the list, or so-and-so's added their name to the list. I've changed it on the Y Drive roster. You can come up here and hit the revise button, and it'll bring up everything have resorted itself. Well, you need to come back here and make sure you hit resort again, and then come over here and click revise. Then it'll put a revised list down here, revised and at what time, and that's all you need to do. Now, let's go over some other number buttons on this list. You can just reset everything, and it'll erase all the scratches and all that, and make a list of 35. Hit the adjust button back, and it'll bring it back to 20 because we have 97. Now, if you know you get rid of the revise, just click it again, click it back, it brings it back up. It's just an on and off button. Now, once you've made this, you can hit export to PDF, and what that button will do is it'll make a record, PDF record, of this callback list in the callback B shift, and name it callback dynamic 1117 today and what time it was created at. And hit it OK. Now, you can print that and fax it, and then what you can do to make it easier to email out is I've created this copy email button. All you do is click the copy email button. It doesn't seem like anything has happened, but what has happened is you've taken every single email address of firefighters on duty today and copied it to the clipboard. And so when you open up an email, I've already pre-done this, you can click in the to button and Control V, and what that'll do is paste everybody who's on duty today in the address block. Then you can add the subject, callback for, let's say it's tomorrow, 11/18. You do it however you want, whatever naming convention you choose to use. And then we want to attach the callback roster, so we'll click attach, and here it's already brought up to the folder I need, which is, we'll go back to here, to KE. So we'll start at KE, we'll click records, callback, CB, B shift, and then the top one. If the latest is not at top, click date modified, it'll bring it to the top. We'll click that and it'll attach it. And we can see here that the callback roster is attached. And here in the body, I just copied something that JD uses a lot, Chief Johnson, and it just gives instructions, and it's a reminder every day that when adding or moving someone from the callback list, please ask your captain to complete the following: change your overtime availability on the Y drive, save the changes, and then notify BAT 1 that the Y drive has been updated and reprint is needed due to the change. And that's according to the contract. According to the contract, if our status has changed, we need to notify BAT 1. And that's it. You hit send, and everybody who's on duty today gets a copy of it in their email. And then that's complete. You can print it, fax it out, and you're done.